Hear me in the World Vibes Radio. Why they my use ya? Not take no talkie. Be careful of some places where you walk. Some no know God, them no read Bible. Then we shoot you down with them rifle. Do not bring no guns, come to town. It's World Vibes, tell them leave that at home. Them better bring love, come to town. It's I say spread the joy around. World Vibes Radio. I'm not taking this, you know. Let's go and teach your youth them. Play some good music, educate them.
Yo, check this out. This is Anthony Cruz, and you don't know it's the Diaspora Connection featuring Kabbalah for Jamaicans with Joshua. Keep it locked, man. Blaze it hot. Anthony Cruz said that.
Diaspora Connection said too little love in this world, mankind. And I said too many war will only complicate the time. Yeah, man, Kabbalah for Jamaican with brother Joshua. More life, more blessing. How you doing out there? Stay connected. Father, it's me again. It's Somari again. Yes, it's me again. Yeah. Yeah. Father God, now beg you guide me through the land. This is a prayer, this is more than a song. Yeah. Jehovah, guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah, shield me from the evil way I bring me. Jehovah, guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah, shield me from the evil way I bring me. So, Father God, may beg you guide and protect me from the evil out the road where you try to corral me. From all the wicked where you try to backstab me, and the one them where you plot to take my life over vanity. Father God, may beg you watch my family, protect my friends as I bless my enemies. Me need you more in this time, cause out the road it just not pretty with the crime. Yeah. And Father God, me beg you just stand beside me. Every day them just a come at me if you try to derail me. But me thank you every day for the victory. Just a hold on the faith, me now go make them distract me. And these are you to hustle hard in the streets, working every day because the wife have to eat. And I must fulfill my destiny. Send your angels in for watch over me. And Jehovah guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah shield me from the evil way I bring me. Jehovah guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah shield me from the evil way I bring me. Me say it's sticky, and out the road me say you mucky. And them the youths are nowadays not afraid to make it up. What a pity, I beer guns so lot the city. And round the world I beer calamity. No, it not pretty. And out the road me say it dirty. And every man who run the place like him and John got see what a pity. No more love no day in the city. So send your love now cause we need it. Oh, guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah shield me from the evil way I bring me. Jehovah guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah shield me from the evil way I bring me. It's me again. Jehovah, me I beg you to cover me with all of your might. Protect me from the evil man, the man where you have the evil plan, the man where you try to take my life. It's me again. Jehovah, me I beg you to cover me with all of your might. Protect me from the evil man, the man where you have the evil plan, the man where you try to take my life. Jehovah, guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah, me I beg you shield me from the evil way I bring me. Jehovah, guide me. and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah shield me, Jehovah shield me from the evil way I bring me. Jehovah, just guide me and just protect me from my enemies. Jehovah, just shield me from all the wicked way I bring me. Jehovah, guide me, Jehovah, guide me and just protect me.
Pull it up, selector. I Lego this ya one ya.
Yeah. I'll never go in wrong congregation. Why? Rastaman a born pagan, so I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the daddy just say. For Emperor Selassie I trust and obey. Rasta words are pure substance. I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the wicked heart say. Neither will I walk in the council no day. All the eyes be no God. So brutality and illusion I'll be always burning. Corruption and confusion will be thrown in the ash bin. Can't fool the Rastaman with your false doctrine, your false teaching. Oh, what a sin thing. Justice in disguise, it's salvation that is seeking. From the throne of David, yeah, it's obvious that you're drifting. You have no respect for the King of all kings, so his name I'll be always exalting. So I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the Dalitans say. For Emperor Selassie I trust and obey. Rasta words are pure substance. I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. Never say what the wicked heart say. Neither will I walk in the council no day. All the eyes be no guys, so I'll never go astray from my roots and my culture. Neither will I forget my homeland, Mama Africa. So go me can go and separate from the vipers, from the hypocrites and from the vampires. Hail the King of Kings, for he giveth all the powers. Born in Ethiopia, look, it's written in the scriptures. Who are the righteous? Hey, they are the truth seekers. Woe be unto you, boss leaders. Never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the Dalitans say. For Emperor Selassie I trust and obey. Rasta words are pure substance. I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the wicked heart say. Neither will I walk in the council no day. Allah is my guide, so I'll never go. I'll never go. I'll never go where they go. Oh, I'll never stray. No way, no day. Yo, I'll never say what they say. Oh, I'll never go where they go. Rastafari I will always follow. Me the heathen can't come sway. No way, no day. Yeah. So I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance. I'll never say what the Dalitans say. For Emperor Selassie I trust and obey. Rasta words are pure substance. I'll never go where the pagans go. Never do what the heathens do, cause Rastafari give all the guidance.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Diaspora Connection featuring Kabbalah for Jamaicans. My name is Joshua, and welcome to episode 172. It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. And I would like to say Chodesh Tov to all of our listeners, because it is now, we are now in the cosmic month of Aries. So happy birthday to all the Aries out there. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. What we do here is we share the teachings, the ancient Israelite teachings known as the Kabbalah, which is based upon the 5 books of Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We actually just started to read, matter of fact, this Saturday, we will start the 3rd book of Moses, Leviticus, Vayikra, starting with the portion of Vayikra. And what we do here is we teach all things based on the Old Testament. I personally, being raised in a Jamaican household under Christianity, I became a Bible student very early. I was fortunate enough to live with my grandmother, our grandmother lived with us, and I always saw her with a Bible on her knee. So, and my mother was a very strong woman of faith, and we weren't a religious family by no means, but something awakened within me early, and I started to read the scriptures, mostly the Psalms and the Proverbs, from when I was about 12, 13, 14. And by the time I was 16, I was knew the Bible pretty well, but questioned a lot of things. When knowing what Christianity taught in regards to not really following the majority of the Israelite laws, I wondered, because when you read in the Old Testament, when the Creator established certain rituals for the Israelites to perform, Christianity tells us that, well, because of Yeshua, because of Jesus, we didn't have to follow those anymore. You live by faith and not by works. And all you had to do was, believe in Yeshua. And that's very unfortunate, because, as I like to say, they threw out the baby with the bathwater. So it's unfortunate. But since I have been a student of Kabbalah for the last 17 years, I've learned a lot. And observing the Israelite ways, I come to realize that, Christianity is missing a lot. Christianity is missing a lot. And give me 1 second, please. Let me quiet these dogs. 1 second. Matter of fact, let's see, who's here? Oh, good evening, Brother Paul. Good evening, Raquel Marcia, and good evening, Sean. Let me just play this one tune, so let me go quiet these dogs.
Just organize and centralize my people, because Babylon now instill malicious and grudge upon my people now. You see the dirty lifestyle, the Rasta man about it. There's nothing in them system of which they create all around. And they criticize their own hydrant, yeah, they would catch at a straw if they were to drown. And they're not different from
walks on the streets, flirts in the towns. They never do positive. They find a joy making people business around. I dance a yard before you dance abroad. The high priest tell you that I knew they from God and go get good ways. True grace, of the perch we pass a young gate. You have the good ways, it give you long days. Now take no bribe from not a screw face. Go get good ways, good grace. Perch we pass a young gate. You have some good ways, it give you long days. Oh, what do you say? I tell you now, they are wait your downfall. Figure lava and talk. Yo, what is that? Great up joy, come this on your figure. Have a donkey job won't fill off. Aye, when Babylon City, I got down propaganda where them spread becomes a dagger to them heart. Hey, things say them have a secret. The baby reveal it, so them a walk witchcraft out. So them better, so them a close in. Contempt the youth, them where they pass. Every man is equal. Rastafari say, try not on the ungodly part. God and go get a good ways. Long days, birds be pass a young gate. What about your good ways? It give you length of days. Yo, now you taste how you medicine they taste. What? Hey, what's them now? I thought about them this, them that. Who slick from who flap? Hey, them some ass Joe Bush and anything else. When we come across the rubbish and trash. Oh, every day that them practice this same thing they never yet know when to stop. Full up about man.
Sizzla Kalonji.
Then I want make you want to see your brother drop.
Good ways.
Have some good ways, true grace. First before you pass, I and get gold and have some good ways. It give
You know,
long
it's lyrics
days.
like this. I maintain, you know, that reggae music is the most spiritual music in the world.
Now let go
You
kiss
hear
the
lyrics?
last you no screw face. Good ways, it give you length of days. Now take no
That's
bribe
right.
from no
Roadways
screw
will
face.
give you length of days. Indeed, my friends, it will. So welcome back again, everyone. Sorry about that. I have these two little puppies and them was make up too much noise. I just had to go and quiet them. So again, welcome to episode 172. Good evening, Sean. Good evening, Raquel Marcia and Brother Paul. Welcome back to our program. And as I was mentioning to our listeners that, you know, growing up as a Christian, I questioned why is it Christianity, as it were, threw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, they told us that we didn't have to follow any of the Israelite laws because of, you know, the birth, death, and resurrection of Yeshua. Now, I don't deny Yeshua at all. I don't deny his death. I don't deny his resurrection. But, you know, to tell people that they don't have to live by law anymore, you know, is misleading and just totally false. Because the world is built, Kabbalah teaches us that the world is built on a framework of cause and effect. And what the Creator was doing when he gave Israel those rituals and the science was telling them, guys, this is how the world is designed. This is how it's built. Here's a secret. Do these things to sweeten judgment, okay? Because you're going to misstep, because the wages of sin is death. He taught us how to avoid negativity and what rituals to perform to draw blessings. And, you know, it's interesting because I listened to a guy by the name of Tony Robbins. I don't know how many of you know of Tony Robbins, but he's a motivational speaker. And I heard something from him the other day that talked about discipline and the benefit of rituals. Because when you look at anyone who, like an athlete, okay, especially an athlete, they have rituals. What are rituals? Rituals are behaviors behaviors that are repeatable on a daily basis. Right? We eat every day, but we don't call that a ritual. But when you check it, it kind of is. Right? We might not eat the same time every day, but we have a breakfast in the morning, and it's usually between certain times. We have a lunch, it's usually between certain times, and we have a dinner, which is usually between certain times. So if you want to really check it, it's like a ritual. So when we talk about religious rituals, okay, or when somebody says they do something religiously, it means that they do it ritually every day, or very frequently. And these rituals are a part of a discipline. Because when you look at the athlete, he talks about, if you're somebody who is physically fit and takes pride in their body, when you wake up in the morning, you have a different ritual than somebody who's overweight. Because it's obvious that the person who is overweight don't have a ritual of exercise or eating properly. Right? It's obvious. But you look at somebody who is physically fit, then and you get to know them a little bit, and them tell you what they do on a daily basis. Say, oh, okay, that's why you look so. Right? Well, so it is with the spiritual regimen. Right? The person who is engaged in spirituality and takes it seriously, they engage in rituals. And these are daily rituals. I wake up in the morning every day and I pray. And I say the same prayer every day. Right? I wrap my tefillin and I join minyan, which is of 10 or more people. Yes? And we do our prayers, and it's usually done between certain times. So there's a ritual. We have people, a part of the K4J, the Kabbalah for Jamaicans community, that every morning they're on an Abikoa prayer call. That's a ritual. And because these rituals are a part of a discipline. We live in the world of physicality. And we cannot be of the mindset that anything goes, because if we are of that mindset, then our lives will show it. Our lives will show it. So, a word to the wise. Structure is important. Structure in your life is important. Performing certain rituals is important to maintain discipline. Because what I'm saying about atrophy, muscle atrophy, if you don't use it, you lose it. But the body is such that the more you work it, the fitter it gets, once you work it the right way. So it is with our intellect, right? Our mind and our intellect. The things that we do when we study, especially when we study spirituality, it helps us to maintain our thinking. Because God knows we're living in a time where there is so much noise out there, especially in social media, so much noise, that if you do not protect your crown, your dome, your mind, you're in trouble. You are in big trouble. And I want to welcome Akash and Brother Peter to the call. Good evening, my friends. Welcome.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Greetings, Josh. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. And as you know, I'm in my kitchen.
Well, you're a chef. That's how you live.
Yeah. And they requested here one of them was soft yam, fried dumplings, saltfish and cabbage, and all them something
Well,
for them right now.
your family is very lucky and blessed to have a chef. in the house.
And I don't work sauce dumpling, you know. I sprinkle little turmeric and I sprinkle other things in the flour. Yes, it don't work sauce of flour,
You
man.
know,
No,
sauce or
something that's
nothing,
happening.
Peter. Sauce or nothing, you know,
No,
do.
no sauce. No.
Everything
Yes, that's
have a little twist or a little something to it, man. That's good. Very good. Yeah, man. So I was sharing with the people that we're living in a time where if you really want to protect your mind, right, and protect your well-being, you have to be of a certain mindset. You can't let certain things in. And the more you perform the rituals, the stronger you will become in that discipline, whatever that discipline is. Again, if you're an athlete, you have to get up, you have to work out, you have to run, you have to train. Right? If you want to maintain a strong connection to the Almighty, to the creative force, then every day there's certain things you have to do. You have to pray. Prayer is the single most important action that you can perform to keep you connected to the divine. Prayer. Now, before I came to the Kabbalah Center, prayer meant something different to me. Right? When I was a Christian, a practicing Christian, I read my Bible, and when I pray, I would read the Psalms. I use the Psalms as prayer. And when I came to the teachings of Kabbalah, I understood prayer to be a connection, because we call it a connection. What are we connecting to? We're connecting to the divine force, the creative force. And we say the same prayers over and over and over again. We do not pray with our mind. We do not pray with our own thoughts. The ancient Kabbalists have given us prayers, and most of them are based upon the Psalms. But they're in Aramaic. The prayers, Hebrew and Aramaic. And you don't have to know Hebrew or Aramaic to scan these prayers. And what I mean by scanning, I mean scanning with your eyes. Because the force is in the letters. The power is in the letters. And just today I was telling somebody, this is why the Jews, or those who have the Hebrew language as their natural language, that's why they're so powerful. And those who practice Judaism, that is why they're so powerful, because of the tools that they use. The tools. It's all about the tools. The Torah is a tool. The Zohar is a tool. The prayers are tools. Observing Shabbat is a tool. These are things that we can do. Judaism is known as the religion of do's and don'ts, that they live by law. And the reason why Christianity became so popular is that the early church fathers say, hey, you don't have to worry about all those laws. Just come. And then it eventually became just all you have to do is believe in Yeshua. That he came and he died for our sin. Just believe in him and you're good. My God, my friends, that is so far from the truth. Because Jesus is not here to help you in your actions. He's not here acting for you. You have to act for yourself. You have to act on your own. Jesus is a channel. He's a channel. He was an example. He opened up pathways for us to enter into. He lived his life so that others could follow his example. But he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the first to live like that. And then there are certain statements that he made in the New Testament that cause people to say, see, he's the door, he's the channel, he's the way. No man go to the Father but by me. What did he mean by that? Well, when you start to study Kabbalah and you start to learn about the tree of life and you learn about the 3-column system, which we're going to talk about quickly tonight in the chapter of Genesis, because we are talking about the Passover. Passover is next week's Saturday night. Not this Saturday coming, but the following on the 12th of April. We're going to talk about the 3-column system. Yeshua was channeling the central column, known as Tiferet, also known as the Son, the S-O-N. And also, here's another secret. In Yeshua's day, there was a great Kabbalist by the name of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students. They were all Kabbalists. And to be one of his students, you had to know how to raise the dead. This is documented, so you can go and look it up. You had to know how to raise the dead. So Yeshua was not unique in his ability to raise Lazarus from the dead. Okay? Or the daughter of the centurion. Not unique. But again, right, Christianity wanted to, the early church fathers wanted to replace Moses. Basically, that's what they really wanted to do. They wanted to replace the main channel, which is Moses, and still is. There's a reason why they're the 5 books of Moses. There's a reason why over 200 times in the scripture you'll find it says, and God said unto Moses. There's a reason why the letters in Moses' name, Moshe, is Mem He Shin, right? The same 3 letters that are one of the 72 names of God used for healing. There's a reason. Moses is the proper channel. And even Yeshua himself, when he was talking to the people around him, he would say, what does the law of Moses say? He always brought them back to the law of Moses. So again, if you're listening for the first time, and you happen to be a Christian, please don't get me wrong. I'm not trampling on Yeshua. In fact, the Kabbalists, especially the modern day Kabbalists, all agree that Yeshua himself was a Kabbalist, and he taught his disciples Kabbalah. He taught his disciples the secrets. He spoke to the public in parables, but he spoke to his disciples in a more direct manner, giving them the secrets because they could handle it and understand it. Even some of them didn't. Even he had to speak to them in parables at times. But what I want to really, really, really get across to you is that Kabbalah is not a religion, it's a science. And with all sciences, okay, there are laws, and there are postulates, and there are axioms. There are foundational teachings that one must stand upon to move further. And one such is that God alone is our Savior. He is the force, the creative force. And we are his creation, and we have an ability to connect directly with that force. We don't need an intermediary. We just need to learn how to do it. And we can do so through the wisdom of Kabbalah. But you have to learn for yourself. It's unfortunate that a lot of Christians don't even know their Bible. Well, they may know the New Testament well, but they don't know the Old Testament because them throw it away. And for the last I started last week talking about Passover, which is the next cosmic window that is approaching. Again, the evening of Saturday, April 12th, for 7 days, is the cosmic opening known as Pesach, which is Hebrew for Passover. And the reason why, again, if you know your Bible, you know the reason why it's called Passover, because at the 10th plague, which is the killing of the firstborn, the slaying of the firstborn of both animal and man. When that decree was given, the Creator told Moses how the Israelites could protect themselves against the angel of death that was being unleashed on that night. He told them to take the blood of the ram that they took on the 10th day. And matter of fact, I'm going to read a little bit out of Exodus chapter 12. Because that's where the whole order of Passover is laid out.
Is there a way for me to follow along as well while you read?
I'm sure I'm going to give you, if you have a Bible or you can go online, I'm going to be reading out of Exodus chapter 12.
I got mine right here.
Okay, awesome. In fact, let's go straight there, because as I read some things, I'm going to, pause and comment. So remember that Egypt was under siege. Moses went to Pharaoh, told him to let the people go, the Israelites go. He didn't want to. So the Creator unleashed 9 plagues on Egypt, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened. So there was necessity for a 10th. And if you, in Exodus chapter 12, and I'm reading out of the King James Version. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months, and it shall be the first month of the year to you. Now, he said this to them on the first day of Aries, which was Saturday, this past Saturday afternoon, the new moon of Aries. So the first day was on Sunday. First day of Aries was on Sunday. And the Creator is saying to them, guys, I know that April or Aries is not the first month in the calendar, but this cosmically really is your first. This is going to be your first month unto you. Okay? The rest of the world can do whatever they want to do, but for you, let this be known as the first month. And he says, This month shall be to you the beginning of months, and it shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to their house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him take, he and his neighbor next to him take it according to the number of souls, every man according to his eating, shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. It shall take it out from the sheep, or from ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of that same month. So from the 10th day to the 14th day, you must have this lamb. You must feed it and take care of it. And then on the evening of the 14th day, you must kill it and eat it. You shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. This was the sign that the Creator told the Israelites to perform, the sign of faith, so that the angel of death would pass over their home and not harm them. That's where the term comes from. Well, I should say the English term, because the Hebrew word is Pesach, and it literally means the mouth that speaks. But it carries another name, as Passover, because the angel of death passed over the houses of those that had the sign of the blood, which represents the 3-column system, by the way. Right, left, and central, which is really the teachings and the understanding of Kabbalah, because the science of Kabbalah is all about energy. It's all about how the light force travels to us from the upper realms to the realm of physicality, where we live in, which is the 10th sphere of the tree of life. And the study of the 3-column system is to understand the balance of energies. What's considered right column energy, what's considered left column energy, and the central column, which is the act of restriction. It wasn't until I started studying Kabbalah that I really understood how a light bulb worked. What do I mean by that? In a light bulb, and the Kabbalists use the light bulb all the time as an analogy to explain things. In a light bulb, there is a positive pole and a negative pole. The positive pole produces the power. The negative pole draws the power. So positive supplies, negative receives. But there needs to be a filament in between. There needs to be a resistor. It's interesting that filament is called a resistor. The brightness of the light comes from the strength of the resistor. In other words, the higher the resistance, the brighter the light. And, to you, Raquel Marcia, since you have been studying for quite some time, think about what that means. Because to me, restriction is one of the most difficult concepts to understand in Kabbalah. Because restriction is different for everybody. Because restriction literally means going against your nature, and not all of us are the same. So, for instance, if a person who don't like to eat ice cream, they don't like ice cream, right? Resisting ice cream is not an issue, right? Because you don't like ice cream naturally. So to resist it is not a problem. But tell somebody who loves ice cream not to eat it. That's a restriction for them. And the Kabbalah teaches that when you restrict against your nature, you have an opportunity to reveal light, because nature is what naturally happens, which is almost robotic. But if you resist your nature, you can grow. You can go above your nature. So the blood on the doorposts, the 2 side posts and across the lintel, across the top, was the sign that the Creator gave the Israelites, the sign of the 3-column system. And in fact, the ancient Kabbalists teach that is when the knowledge of the 3-column system was revealed for the nation of Israel. The patriarchs knew it. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and many others, and a few others knew already about that system. But for a nation, it's the first time that wisdom was taught to them. And they also learned the 72 names of God. But unfortunately, the scriptures doesn't tell us that. So how do we know? Well, because of things like the Midrash. And the Kabbalists, it has been revealed to the Kabbalists. Do you know what's very interesting? In the Zohar, it tells us that Abraham ate matzah. The Zohar tells us that Abraham ate matzah. The Zohar is the principal text of Kabbalah. And you can call it the Kabbalist Bible, as it were, meaning its most important document. Because without the Zohar, we could not connect to the energy, we could not tap the energy of the Torah the way we should. The Kabbalists teach that the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, is written in code. It's encoded in stories. And although you can gain tremendous insight and wisdom of how to live by just reading the surface stories, there is so much more to those stories. So much more. And the reason why the Israelite goes to temple to listen to a portion, one of the 52 portions of the 5 books, is because the Creator instructed us that this is how you can gain energy. You can tap into the force, right? You can tap into the energy on a weekly basis to download energy that will help you face your challenges in the upcoming week. So, my friends, one of the most powerful tools that you can use is listening to the Torah on a Saturday. Right? And, you know, I wanted to continue reading in Exodus, but as Brother Sean is here, Sean Forrester is here, I kind of had mentioned last week about, you know, what had happened to him. Not so much to him, but was happening around him. And when Sean shared with me what had happened, I told him, you know, it was a direct result of him listening, because it happened on a Sunday, last week Sunday. It was a direct result of him taking the time to listen to the Torah reading on Saturday. And he wasn't feeling well. But because he took the time to listen to the Torah reading and to tap into that energy, things start happening around him that he had very little control over. Matter of fact, he had no control over. Even though it's him kind of, and you know, and tomorrow, Sean, I want to invite you onto the program where you can share your testimony with our listeners.
Most definitely, Joshua.
Wonderful. Because I think it's a wonderful, inspiring testimony and evidence that when we tap into the tools, when we utilize the tools, we get the benefit. We see it. And what was so, I have to really say, surprising, well, you know, I won't use the word surprising, but what was very evident to me was here was another example of how quickly we see the benefit of using the tools. That's what it proved to me. And if it's one thing, you know, the Kabbalah Learning Center of Jamaica that we founded was created to give Jamaicans an opportunity to learn this wisdom that is transformative, to learn this wisdom that will assist them in living more fulfilled lives, that will assist them in becoming more prosperous, that will assist them in having more protection, that will assist them in increased health. That's what this does. And when you look at the Jews worldwide, you can see why they're so blessed. I mean, I said they're more righteous than anybody else. but you would be in denial if you're not sister them blessed. Pure denial. And anyone, any people who adopts that faith, that science, and practices it will be as blessed, will be as unified as they are. Because it's the faith that keeps them together. It's the faith that unifies them. It's the faith that protects them. It's the faith that draws abundance and prosperity. It's the faith. It's the science. It's the practice of the science. And we just have to remember, friends, that we are in a war. We're in a war. And the moment you forget that you're in a war, you've lost. Okay? You've lost. And let me go back to the scriptures here, read a little bit more. I'm going to jump to verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plagues shall not be, and the plague shall not be unto you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Okay? It didn't say until Yeshua come. Throughout your generations, forever. So why is it Christians don't do it? That's my question. Well, I know why they don't do it. Because they feel that Yeshua is the answer. They feel that Jesus is the answer. Well, again, anybody is, free to believe whatever they want. That doesn't work for the Kabbalists. In fact, I was talking about Rabbi Akiva and his 24,000 students. A code word for a Kabbalist back in those days was Son of God. Let me repeat that. The code word for a Kabbalist in the first and second century, was Son of God. Why? Because the Zohar itself, in portion Behar, chapters 13 and 14, for unto me the children of Israel are servants, and 14, the secret of the servant and the secret of the son. And in that, the Creator tells us that the Son of God is the one who seeks to know Him in a particular manner, in a very special manner. That's who a son is. That's who a son is. The one who is willing to lift up the hood, to understand how the engine works. The one who is willing to study and to apply themselves to this wisdom and to this knowledge so that they can be equipped with wisdom and knowledge to be able to engage in warfare. Because again, like I said, if you don't recognize that you're in a war, you're in trouble. You're done. Because what? The greatest trick the Satan ever played on humanity was to make them believe that he didn't exist. Okay? Make them believe that he didn't exist. Why is that so significant? Is because if you don't realize that you're living in a world of cause and effect, and if you don't realize that your own actions is what comes back on to haunt you, if you don't realize that, then you just keep spinning your wheels. And you don't know why life is the way it is. Or you remain in victim mode and say, somebody will do you something, when you do yourself something. right? You alone are responsible. Are people bad mind? The people bad mind out there? Yes. Are people greedy and vicious and jealous? Yes. But the scripture also tells us that the person who is in favor of the Creator makes even his enemies can't harm him or love him, right? Turn them around. The scriptures tell us this. All we have to do is do as the Creator says to do. And we're not doing it because, we need to obey the Creator. We're doing it for our own benefit because it helps us. It helps us. And one of the best things, one of the things I learned to do is to ride the wave. What wave? The wave of energy. Well, how do you do that? By adhering to the holidays and the cosmic openings and doing the rituals that the Kabbalists recommend that we do. That's what we can do to make our connections on a regular. Oh, any questions or comments? Because I want to switch and talk to you guys about the changes to our website. I don't know how many of you have gone to our website. Let me just share this. Actually, I'm sharing it there. Let me share this. Yes, Peter.
Peace and blessing.
Yeah,
on Shabbat, one of the brethren was speaking about the whole Pesach Passover and thing, and he was even thinking about the whole issue of animal sacrifice and the significance behind animal sacrifice, and that animal rights activists will be up on Israel right now.
Yeah.
Goat and that.
Yeah.
No, he was saying something to the effect that the animals, yes, made a pact with humans.
Yes.
Instead of their blood, instead of the blood of the humans, they will go up.
That's right.
And make a sacrifice.
Yes.
For us.
Yes.
No. Even if that was a metaphor, yes.
Yes.
Kabbalists teach that is the elevation from the animal state. Yes, that really brings to the light of the spiritual and the supernatural world.
Well, yes.
So once we elevate ourselves from that animal state, even if it was a metaphor, we kill that animal and use that animal as a sacrifice to redeem us. Oh, what a beautiful story.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful story. Even as I said before, animal rights activists will be saying, yo, man, you kill too much thing, I want to defend.
Yeah.
However, it was an intercession that was made on our behalf by the animal.
That is correct. And in turn, when we eat them, you see, this is why, a person who doesn't eat meat, right? Now, I can understand a person don't eat meat on a regular, but a person don't eat meat at all doesn't understand our responsibility to help to elevate those animals, because that is what you do when you eat. Especially, that's why it's important to eat kosher, because the kosher animal now, the higher spirits come back into the kosher animals, right? These spirits, these souls that never finish them correction and just need us to help them, right? Them come back in an animal, in a kosher animal, in the hope that somebody who understands the secret and understands the blessing and the consciousness will eat them, okay, and release them.
I guess I'm from one of those Adam teachings where things are concerned, and for real, I don't want to kill anything. I don't want to slaughter. I don't want to share.
But you see, you have to look at the difference. It's not a slaughtering. You see?
I know. No, I'm a chef enough. And don't get me wrong.
I know.
Throughout the years, I have taken off a lot of goat's heads. I've slaughtered a lot of goats in my time.
Yeah.
Yes, I can go ahead and burn goat. However, I don't partake of it. Yes,
Ah,
I'm a chef. I will cook beef and all that. I don't cook pork. Then now we cannot come on my grill and that. No. So, however, it's just my own
right.
personal thing with love, and I don't want to kill anything. Josh, when I go up on my roof to pray on Shabbat, there are ants crawling on the ground, and they make room for me.
That's nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
I
make
don't,
room.
listen, I try my best also. If there's a fly or if there's any kind of bug or anything in my presence, right? I'm not gonna try kill them, right? I'm gonna try capture them and put them outside, right? Because, all life is sacred. Yeah? All energy is sacred. And if we can live like that, we are living at a higher vibration. Now,
Yes,
if we're killing to eat now, right, or to help to elevate, that's a different story, right?
exactly. But
Yeah, it's a different story, and we're
yes,
being given that permission, not just permission, but we are helping, we are assisting, yeah. Because what the one of the first laws, the wages of sin is death, right? Is either your life or the life of something else, right? It's got to be blood. It's got to be
crazy.
blood, you know,
It's crazy.
and
I want everybody and everything to live. Some people said that they take one stool and kill two birds. I never. I
too
changed.
bad.
I changed. I changed.
I
I changed
agree.
that narrative. I changed that narrative and said I take one piece of bread and feed two birds.
Ah, no, I agree. Anybody who says that, the first thing me say, well, I mean, the killing bird thing, but I understand what you mean.
Mm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We have to be
I've been
careful.
this way. I've been this way. I've been this way for 50 years of my life. Josh. I eat no meat, man.
Wow. Well, that's good. Hey, listen. Again, to each their own. Okay. But if a person does decide to eat meat, they should eat it with the understanding that they are helping the soul, and especially, and that's why it's important to eat kosher, because you don't want to raise the negative soul,
Yes.
right? You don't want to
Yes.
raise the negative soul, but you want to have the understanding that, and you say the blessing, right? You say the appropriate blessing to release the soul from the bondage, right? And that's one of
Yes.
the reasons
Yes.
why
Yes. I
fish,
do
no,
that.
fish, one of the reasons why fish is one of the best things to eat, okay? Is because fish
I
live
eat
in
fish.
water.
Yes, I eat fish. And
Yes.
you know the reason for me eating fish too? Because of the thing there, the fried the fish and feed the multitude.
Okay, that's fine. But the Kabbalists, right, when they talk about fish, right, the fish is a different thing altogether because it lives in mercy. It's surrounded by mercy. Water, the oceans, are considered mercy.
Wow. That's,
So when you eat fish now, right, you know, or even chicken, like I said, even chicken. One teacher told me once that chickens were only created, okay, they were only created to be used as a sacrifice for man.
wow.
The only reason
Wow.
why they were created. And why is chicken better than eating meat? Because of its ability to fly.
Oh wow.
It's you know, Josh.
Eh?
I just the thing about me is just the oneness. I see things holistically. So I wouldn't want to hurt nothing. I don't want
But
to.
but you see,
I
but you
don't
see,
want to
Peter.
kill nothing.
Here's the
I
thing,
want
Peter.
to
Peter, if you understand, if you have a kosher animal, okay, and you slaughter the kosher way, drain the blood, okay, prepare it, and prepare a meal for people to eat and to have unification around, right, and have the right consciousness, okay, have the right consciousness, then you're not hurting that animal. That is why
I know
killing it
that
the kosher way is most important, because you're slaughtering it without any pain, right?
you know what I know? You know what I know for real, for real?
But
I give unto you. the herb-bearing trees and the fruit-yielding plants with their seeds, and ye must partake of this
Yes.
as if it was meat. It was
Yes.
after the flood. It was after the flood.
Ah,
When
exactly.
man came out. So I know personally
You
that I
understand.
was never created to eat meat.
That is correct.
Never,
That is correct.
never created to eat meat because it was commanded unto
That
me
is
what I
correct.
should eat from the beginning.
That is
And
correct.
so I go all the way back. So I don't have to.
No, you
You
don't. You
understand?
don't have
It has
to.
nothing to
You
do
don't
with,
have to.
okay.
But the person who
And I know,
does,
I'm not missing out. I know I'm not missing out on anything because it's mercy that I don't kill the goat and eat him. Not out of
well, let me
mercy
ask you
or
something,
for
Peter.
living
Peter,
before.
here, all right. Here's
But,
the thing. Let me ask you this:
mm,
how is the soul in that animal going to be elevated?
I have to put him in a pot.
Huh?
What I do know is that these animals, they live for a reason. They give off vibrations and energy that helps to heal us. That I know.
That
I
is
have no
true.
doubt in
That
my.
is true. But for them to get to the next level of their elevation, right? We, the highest elevation that the Creator has made, has to slaughter it and eat it with the proper blessing to release the soul so that it continues on its journey. That's the only way.
I know. I know that there are millions and millions and millions of rams being slaughtered all over the world today. I know all these things for whatever reason and stuff like that. The sacrifice, my sacrifice is the selflessness in me. I am a lamb myself. So I give up myself to be slaughtered every day by what's going on out here so that others may come to the light.
Yeah.
I am a lamb now. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how I look at life. I can't see life no other way because my life is not for me. My life
And
is
that's
for
that's
people.
cool. But like I said,
So,
the only way, for instance, okay, you know that there's certain souls, okay, that will come back as a blade of grass. Certain sparks
I,
of soul will come as a blade of grass. Now listen to this. How is that soul? Because we are here to elevate sparks. That is our mission. Okay? To elevate the sparks that were that degraded into the klipot, into physicality. Anything that is of a physical nature is of a lower vibration. And it is our duty to help to elevate it to a higher vibration. Okay? Now, a soul or a spark of a soul that is incarnated into a blade of grass, right? It's only liberation. Listen to this. Its only way of being elevated from that blade of grass is if a cow comes and eat the grass, okay? And then a butcher slaughters the cow properly in the kosher way, and a person with the right understanding of the Kabbalistic understanding will eat the cow, say the right blessing, and elevate all the sparks. So without us, the spark that is stuck in the grass will not be elevated.
and you heard what I said earlier on from the beginning, but I was listening to the rabbi, and the rabbi said that the agreement made with us and the animal and the whole metaphor behind we died as animals to elevate ourselves to a pure human self. So
And and
I
and
will I
and
will
our
look at that.
promise, our return is to help to elevate them, right?
Yeah, man.
And that is how we do it, through eating it. Because the energy, and that is why when we eat, we should request that the energy that we are gaining from that food will help us to perform righteous actions for the world.
I have the tree of life meditation And I have the Hermetic Science by the German,
Mm.
and it also speaks about those things
Mm-hmm.
and everything that has life within life has some form of intelligence ruling and governing over that life,
Mm-hmm.
however minuscule it may be. I have the intelligence to rule it.
Well, yeah, and that comes from learning. It not come natural, right?
No.
It comes from learning because it's so funny. I was talking to a young man in BJ's nearby me, and matter of fact, the young man who introduced me to Akash. Hey, Akash, I see you. You know, um, and he is a good brother, but he's I told him, I said, no matter what I say to you, you are convinced that Yeshua is God, and therefore you're trying to see Yeshua in all the things that I talk about, which is not a problem, but it can become a stumbling block. Um, for instance, I said to him, I said, if you didn't know anything about the New Testament, where in the Old Testament does it really talk about for God so loved the world that he needs to send his son to redeem the world? That is not a theme in the Old Testament. The Christians
The Old Testament,
pick out a few. Eh?
The Old Testament only speaks about Yahshua's coming, and there are many chapters in there. So that virgin shall bear a child, and you shall call his name Emmanuel,
But
which translates into English. I'm not
right.
saying Yahshua is whatever. I'm only saying yes, the Old Testament, because I did a small little course on theology, and the small little course on theology requires me to know his companions, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Study that. Paul's letter to the Corinthians and the Gentiles, and Old Testament prophecy supporting that yes, Yeshua was supposed to come, and here he is now. And that's what it requires me to go out. And never to be, if I want to be a Baptist, and be with John the Baptist. If I want to teach even Peter and be a Pentecostal or any other side of the Bible, that I want
Like Peter, I
to
tell you,
say.
sometimes it's real difficult to hear you
No,
because
I was saying, I had an opportunity
yes,
to.
I heard that. I'm just letting you know that sometimes it's very difficult to hear because I know you're on speakerphone. I know you're in your kitchen, so it's very difficult sometimes to make out what you're saying. But yeah, but you see, here's the thing: when a person thinks that, you see, the way Christianity is taught is that Jesus or Yeshua was God's plan B. Okay? Because he gave man the law and man couldn't live by the law. So because he realized that man couldn't live by the law, he then decided to send his son. Really? Really? Plan B? Listen to me now. When in the Zohar it tells us that when the Creator was going to create man, the angels came to him and said, Creator, why are you going to create man? He's going to sin. And when he sins, you're going to have to punish him because you're righteous and there's judgment. And he won't be able to withstand it. Why are you going to do this? The Creator said a few things. One of the things he said was, what do you think I'm called long suffering for nothing? He says also, don't worry, I have created the process by which man, when he falls, not if he falls, when he falls, there is a process for him to return. And it's called tshuva, to shuv hay, to return to the hay. What does that mean? It means that the Creator has already established a way for man to redeem himself. So there was no need for him to send Jesus to do it. It was already in place. It was already in place.
What I'm actually saying, yes, is that even when they supposed to take up some stone to stone Yeshua, Yeshua asked them, why stone at me? It's because of my good works. And they said, no,
It's because you
because
call
you are a
yourself
man
son of
and you
God.
want to liken yourself unto God.
Right.
No, Yeshua turned to you. Yeshua turned to you because I called them reprobate at the time. Because they never
Can't hear you, Peter. Come
understand.
closer to the phone.
No, Yeshua at the time. Yes, Yeshua at the time. Yes, when they wanted to stone him.
Yeah, yeah, I heard
And
that.
he asked the question, why stone at me? It's
Right,
because of my good works.
right.
And they said, no, because you are a man and you want to liken yourself unto God.
All right.
Yeshua turned to them and says, Isn't it not written in your Psalms
That
where
ye are
God
gods.
Yes, all of us, every one of us on earth, he wasn't just talking about boy,
That's right.
everybody on earth is a God
Uh-huh. That's
in
right.
their own right. Because if my father is a God, yeah, and him met me, then I must a God.
All
If
right.
my father is a lion and him met me, then I must a little lion
All
come.
right.
So I don't deny none of these things, otherwise I will see myself probably as a dog when I come back. And I
Right.
ain't come back as no dog, I come back as a human being, just
Right.
like how God met me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
with
right.
that being said, we know that the light is really there, and that is our prime focus, that we should gravitate towards the light and recognize it and live selfless.
Now, you see, if people recognized that we are, we're not as mature and elevated as Yeshua, right? But we are of the same essence, meaning we are of divine birth as well. Okay? You see, that's the difference. If they were to turn around and recognize their own divinity, then that's fine. But them have Jesus or Yeshua as divine and us as not, right? Claiming that we're adopted. What do you mean adopted? Adopted into what? God is my father, period. I'm not adopted. He birthed me. Because he said, before
And
you were in the room, I knew you.
the adoption came about when it was speaking about the Gentiles. Yes, that when Christ came about, that they were engrafted into the house of Israel, those who came of a promise. Yes, those who came through the faith by a promise that God had promised Abraham and the rest of the people and in the world is to faith and not promise. Those who were born of the flesh through Sarah and those who were born of faith. So all of that is
Ah.
written in there.
So what does it mean? Hold on. What does it mean to be born of faith?
Pardon?
What does it mean to be born of faith?
Come on, Josh, you know that, man. Why you hold
well,
steadfast. You maintain your rituals.
well, hold on. Hold on. You know what it means? Let me take you to John and Akash, you say you have your Bible. Go to the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 14. I'm turning there
One
now.
second. Yeah, Hebrews 7 speaks about faith, you know. Abraham come all the way down to Job and all of
Yeah,
those
but
people.
this is a different type of faith. This is a different
Okay,
type
let
of
me hear
faith.
you.
Let me
Let me
read what
hear
it
you.
says here. My glasses there. Okay. We all know how John starts. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? Again, Christianity want to say that this is referring to Jesus. Okay? But when you go to the Zohar and you start to learn Kabbalah, you realize that this is talking about the Torah.
Anyway.
Okay? In the beginning was the Word. The Word was the Torah. Okay, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God. Because the first thing that the Creator made was the Hebrew letters. And then he made the Torah. And then when he was about to make creation, it says that he looked into the Torah and made creation. So the Torah is the blueprint. Okay? So this is what John is talking about here. But Christians, the early church fathers want to turn it around and say, well, you're talking about Yeshua and talking about Jesus. No. Right? He goes on to say, Now, listen to this, and I ask some people this all the time. Here it says, there was a man that was sent from God, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Now, hold on a second. Why they never make a religion around John the Baptist? Since it says here that there was a man sent by God whose name was John, that all men through him, John, should believe. So why they never camp out upon John? All right, let me continue. He was not that light, but he was sent to bear witness of the light. That was the true light, that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. That can only be God. That can only be the spark of God. Verse 10, he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Now, guys, this has got to be talking about the Creator himself. Okay? Meaning that he was in the world. He was in everything that is in the world. But the world knew him not. The world could not recognize the divinity of all things. Verse 11, he came into, now the English version says he came unto his own, but when you go back to the original, that really should be into. He came into his own, and his own knew him not. He received him not. But as many as received him, meaning as many as understood that they had the spark of God within them, gave he power to become the sons of God. Okay? Now, verse 13, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but by God. When I read that in my young days as a Christian, man, the light went off in my head. I said, wait a minute. This is telling me that I have a virgin birth as well. That's what this is saying. That I didn't come here because my mommy and my daddy get together. I came here because I was sent by God. My natural parents were just the channel to help to create my body. So this is what I actually try to show a lot of people. That if you want to believe, so that, you see, this is why I ask you, what does it mean to be born of faith? This is what it means. That you recognize your pedigree. You recognize your own origins. That is not from physical, your genealogy. It's not because of that. It's because you were destined. You were sent by the Creator. And by chance, you wake up. Not by chance. But you wake up. You wake up and you realize that you were born of God. Thank you, Akash, for showing that. You're born of God. Not because your mommy and your daddy get together. Okay? And not by blood. Because reincarnation is a fact. So even though you find yourself as a person of color right now, or as a Jamaican, or whatever you find yourself as, you could have been someone else in a different life. So don't take your ethnicity too serious. Okay? Do what you...
I have a question.
Sure, Akash.
So I have come to this realization as well that, you know, our physical bodies, well, that was our parents, but we're all here. We're all children of God, and every single human is a vessel for which God creates us.
Correct.
But then, when is the moment when the light bulb like flicks and we go from just the physical to being a child of God, to realizing that in order to be the best son or daughter of God possible, then in order to be the best son or daughter of your parents as possible. You need to be the best son or daughter of God. When does that moment happen?
When did it happen for you?
It was a process,
Well,
you
there you
know?
go. You answered it.
Uh-huh. I guess I have to just think it out loud sometimes.
Well, that's why I love asking questions.
It gets us thinking.
Let people think. That's right. It's a process, my friend. And you know what that process is? It's called life. When you go through enough things in life, okay? You know, some people have to go through pain and suffering. Actually, most people, when you really check it, a person who has a very easy life or privileged life, the chances of them coming to really know themselves is very dim, very little, unfortunately. You know, because they have no reason, you know, except for the Buddha, right? The Buddha was different, right? The Buddha was a prince, raised in the kingdom, okay, in the palace, but something within him didn't feel right. So he decided he wanted to go outside and start looking at things. And he started to see people who were infirm, people who were dead, sickly, so forth and so on. And he said, wait a minute, what is this? And then he decided to go within himself and find, right? That's different. He didn't go through hardship. He put himself under hardship to learn, right? But it's a great question you asked. I'm really glad you asked it, because it is a process. It is a process, and each one of us have a different process. Raquel Marcia, I know, you know, I know I feel as if as I'm talking to Ratid, you are just thinking about your process.
I'm always thinking about my process. But good conversation, because I'm not the meat person.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Peter, I'm listening to everything. And I'm listening to you about the kosher meat and stuff. I mean, I've tried. I used to eat chicken. I don't anymore. Don't eat the beef anymore. I mean, I'm anemic, so the doctor said I need to try to eat some red meat, but it's like I can't digest it. But I'm listening to you. Good point. I'm listening to Peter. Good point. So, just kind of have to make a decision on my own.
And try it little by little. You know what I mean? Right. And again, you know what? Look, there's some Kabbalists that only eat meat on Shabbat.
Well, the chicken, I just can't. It's just not gonna go down my throat.
You know what? Yeah. I think it's a mind thing.
I told you that my mother stopped eating chicken from, I mean, when she was about 10, 11, something like that, with something that happened. And I don't know if, but I used chicken.
I'm sure it has something to do with it.
Yeah. But
so try some, like I said, some red meat. You get some kosher again. You don't have to have a regular diet of meat, right? And I'm not saying that you have to eat it at all. I'm just saying that if we do eat it, eat it with the right consciousness and know that the only way that the soul in that animal is going to get elevated is when we eat it.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that part too. So just have to, like I said, work out what is right for me.
That's it. That's it.
Me going back to the garden and eating.
I'm here too, Peter.
And that's okay too. That's okay too, Peter.
The difference also, Peter, is that, you see, you're in Jamaica. If I was in Jamaica, trust me, Peter, because I love everything from the ground. That is just me. I love everything from the ground. That is what I thrive on. But here, I mean, everything here is in season every day, that is not the natural course of it.
Yeah,
but you go to the market and there's everything that is here. Orange is orange all year round. Apple is red all year round. And, so it's not in its natural state because everything is forced. But, like I said, I, studying Kabbalah, and I hear that, the kosher meat and stuff like that. And, I've tried it. like I said, chicken, I don't think I can ever eat chicken again. It's just something that I don't. And maybe it's a mindset. I don't know, but
Hey, listen.
you know,
If you want to, I believe it's a mindset thing. But hey, again, just know that you have to do what
It's a
is right for
difficult.
you.
That door is there for you. If you choose to open it or not,
That's
it's up
right.
to you.
that's
That's right.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well said,
exactly.
Akash. Well said.
And but this, and you see, this is the thing too, with spirituality and Kabbalah, there's nothing forced.
Exactly.
Yes.
No
So that's
coercion.
the good
No
thing.
coercion.
It's not a religion where
Correct.
if you don't do this, then that, and if you don't do that, God will sing, and you're gonna burn, and you're gonna do all of them.
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
So you yourself, just like we were talking about, that we are gods.
That's right.
So you create your life.
That's right.
You,
That's
you
right.
decide what kind of life you want to create.
That's right.
So and that's the
It's a responsibility.
it is.
You know what I know is that in this faith we recognize that there are other gods out there. However, we just acknowledge one. That I know. That I know. In Judaism, that I know.
Well, when you say when you say acknowledge one, you mean
know that there are other gods out there, yes, but there's only one supreme.
okay.
But
All
we
right.
all
Okay.
have God from him.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That you
There's
said that
only one
differently.
supreme.
Be clear. Yeah.
That
I'm
is
glad you clarified that. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
But there's only one supreme.
Yes.
Yes, only one supreme. You have other people out there masquerading down and stuff like that. I want to feel like them is the supreme. And from a linguistic standpoint, I wouldn't even get into that.
Right.
Yeah, because from a linguistic standpoint, just like when we talk about words and their original, the etymology of these words when they were first coined, what they mean, we have to check out because the age of belief and when we were supposed to show and prove amongst all these theologians and philosophers that the Kabbalah is right, we had to go into science to do things like that. Because that was the only way we could prove and show and prove that yes, this is right. Otherwise, they would have never believed in that. They would just believe in direct spooks and all these things. They never see the holistic thing and know that we are like assimilators. We are experiencing life. We are the omnipotent, the omnipresent, and the omniscience of God spread out throughout the whole world. We just don't recognize that when we come together, that's what we emanate.
Yes. Yeah, man. But no, man. This is great.
I love this. I love this.
This
The
is
interaction is awesome.
Yes, that's
And that's what it's supposed to be about.
this is what it's supposed to be. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Exactly.
you know.
And I wanted to quickly turn our attentions because we have our in an hour from now we have our 30-minute Zohar reading. Yes, dedicated to Jamaica. We have it on Tuesday night and Sunday night. So we made some changes to our website, and I'm actually sharing it right now on the screen. So under K for J News, we're going to make some more changes. Under live, this is the weekly connections, right? That I recommend that you try and connect to whenever you can. The Shabbat connections, guys, as far as I'm concerned, it's a must. Now, even though there are no such things as musts, okay, this is a must. In that, if you really want to take advantage, okay, of the energies and what's available to you, try not to miss the Torah reading on Saturday. And all you have to do is come to this link and click here. All right, this is the K for J link. And every Friday evening and Saturday morning, it is live. Here we have the Zohar readings, right? Again, just click on this. This is not the K for J link. This is the Zohar channel link from the Kabbalah Center. You click on that. If I were to click on that right now, I'd go right into the Zohar reading, okay? And then this is our program tonight, the Diaspora Connection. Click on this, and it will take you right to where you are now.
That's
Also,
nice. I like that.
huh?
I said that's nice. I like that.
Yeah,
It's very clean. It's very organized. I like it too.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And the next thing, we're supposed to have this under. our Passover, the Passover link is here as well. Where is that? Interesting. I had sent the link out. I sent the link out in the chat. Here it is. Oh, I didn't see that before. Okay, here. So for those of you who wish to make the Passover, the Pesach connection, okay? It's the K4J link. And, you know, some members of the K4J community will be donating funds to, because it's normally $150 per person to stream. In fact, my wife and I are going to the center to be there live. So this year it's actually the cheapest it's ever been. It's $300 per person because it's actually going to be at the Kabbalah Center and not at a hotel somewhere, you know. So we're going to be there. But someone will be streaming this live, right? And I highly, guys, again, I can't stress enough the importance of connecting to these openings. Can't stress it enough. And this is one that you don't want to miss. Try your best not to miss this. All right? It begins at 8:30 p.m. Saturday night, Saturday the 12th. Goes to 10:45. Then they're going to break for dinner. Okay? And then they're going to start back at 11:45. I go to 1:45 a.m. And then Sunday morning from 11 to 3. So you're going to have Torah reading and, you know, connections for Passover. And then for 7 days, stay away from the flour products.
Joshua, I know you usually ask me to stream, but I might be driving to Atlanta with my grandson.
Okay, well, I'm glad you told me, so I'll try and
Yeah,
find someone else.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
cool.
yeah.
All right.
If I don't go, I'll let you know. But right
Yeah,
now,
man,
it's
no problem. Actually,
90%.
Akash streamed for us last time.
I remember that. Yeah.
So, Akash, you and I will talk, and if you're going to be making this connection, then you know, we'll ask you to do the same since you're, you know, technologically savvy. All right. So we'll talk about that. But guys, get your matzah ready, okay? I have to call the temple in Jamaica and find out if they have matzah available. Sean, you gotta try and see if you can make your way into Kingston and get yourself some matzah. It's imperative, okay? It's truly, you see, it's not just enough to stay away from flour products. You know, stuff that has leaven in it. But we are to eat unleavened bread. And I heard actually, I don't know if I posted it in the K4J chat. One of our teachers had given a daily inspiration about matzah. Okay, why is matzah called the bread of redemption? Right? It's because in its simplicity, flour and water, the most simplest thing that you can, poor man's food, as it were. And the Creator made it so that this simple cracker, okay, simple cracker, eaten at a particular time of year, within a certain cosmic window, will help to rid ourselves of our evil inclination and to protect us against our ego. Right? That's what it's all about. And again, there are no musts in spirituality. It's only an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to connect, to make a connection to certain energies if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But the key is to have the understanding, to have the knowledge. Then you have the option. But if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the option. And you can't make the connection because it's all about consciousness. So tomorrow night, I'll be here again. We'll continue the conversation. We'll talk more about Passover. We'll get more into Exodus, and we'll read about what the Creator says. I'm going to try and see if I can get somebody tomorrow to read some Aramaic from the Zohar for us tomorrow. All right, but I hope that you guys will connect with us later on in 45 minutes at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 in Jamaica for the Zohar reading, because remember, you are all channels. When you're listening, okay, you are becoming a channel. And remember, science has already proven that sound waves, okay, expand and extend to 2 miles from where we are. Whatever sounds we make travels 2 miles. The energy of it travels 2 miles. So imagine when you're listening, and that's why I said, Brother Paul, thank you for all the times that you connect to the Zohar, because not only are you receiving it for yourself, but you're also a channel for those around you. Those are in the infirmary and those within Spanish Town within a 2-mile radius. Right? So whenever we can, let's try not to miss these opportunities where we can share light, spread light, and generate light. Remember, when the Creator said in Genesis 1, let there be light, he was talking to us. He was talking to us. We are the ones that have to let the light in. We are the ones. Because as we can see in the world, there are so many people who are being instruments of darkness. So let us be instruments of light. So thanks for being here. Appreciate you, Sean, Brother Sean. Tomorrow, we'll give you an opportunity to share your testimony so that people understand the power of the Torah readings and giving themselves over to that. And what happened to you, for you, and the evidence of the Creator's presence in your life because of what you decided to do. So thanks, everyone. Remember, hope you can get here tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more. Try and get your matzah. Get ready for next week, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday after that. 7 days of eating unleavened bread and staying away from leavened products. All right? Anybody, any closing comments?
Skincare, beauty secret? Just good conversation.
Thank you, Raquel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks, Akash, and thank you for your question.
Oh, of course.
But as you said, it's a process. It's a process. And remember, John, a lot of people have, I read the scriptures very differently. I've learned to read the scriptures very differently. A lot of people, when I take them to that chapter in John, they don't necessarily see it that way. But it's like when, you go to Genesis chapter 3, where it says, behold, the man has become like one of us to know both good and evil. Hopefully now man will eat from the tree of life and then live forever. Nobody ever reads it like that. Nobody reads it like that. To say, well, wow, man was supposed to eat from the tree of knowledge. And that God's intention was for man to live forever. Immortality. Not to die and go to heaven. The Kabbalist wants to stay here and make things right. So thank you for being here, and see you guys hopefully at 10:30, and if not, tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. All right, guys.
Night.
Give thanks. Can we just say one soul?
One soul, one love.
One soul, one soul.
Thank you, brother Peter. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah.
One soul, man. One
One
soul.
soul, one soul.
And the only way it's gonna work and get stronger.
That's right.
Yep,
That's
yep,
right.
yep.
Love that. Blessed love, man.
Give time,
Respect.
give
All
All
right,
right.
sir.
time, give time.
See you guys
Bye-bye.
later. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Night.
Akash. Good night. And for those of you on the radio, this has been Diaspora Connection featuring Kabbalah for Jamaicans. My name is Joshua. We're here every Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 to 8 p.m. in Jamaica. Remember, we have our website, KabbalahForJamaicans.com. If you want to contact me in the studio, you can reach me at country code +1 516 965 5700. Here on World Vibes Radio. See you tomorrow night. Good night.